Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before, steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival.
Caitlin,
I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Ha, Rakah, Kodash, double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone while, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom wa abab abal. So as you heard, this is a World War III alert. All right, that Iran was bombed by Israel. All right, which was prophesied. Okay, it says in Jeremiah 50 and 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh that he had taken against Babylon, which is America, and his purposes that he had purposed against the land of the Chaldeans, which they're a bunch of witches that ruled this place. Surely the least of the flock, which is the Israeli state, which they're the smallest but the youngest in the Edomite nations. All right, so they're the least of the flock, but they're the ones that are the most powerful, shall draw them out, and that's why Israel just bombed Iran. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, which America and Israel are going to be destroyed by nuclear missiles. It says, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. All right, because America is going to be hit with nuclear missiles. All right, Revelation 17, verse 1, and there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore. The great whore is America, that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So it says, so he carried me away in the spirit in the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. The woman is America, the scarlet-colored beast is the European Union, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, the 10 horns, it tells you that these are going to hate the whore, which is the European Union kings. It says in verse 12, and the 10 horns, the European Union kings, which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. All right, now I'm going to jump down. It says in verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. So they hate the king of Babylon, hate America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
And this morning I offer my deep concern, solidarity, and prayers with the people of California who are out in the streets unarmed defending the rule of law against illegal kidnapping and deportation, and they're being faced down by the military might of the United States Marines. We're not talking about creeping fascism here. This is full-on police state tyranny from the gangster president Donald Trump. And this is the man who will soon be crossing our border to attend the G7 meetings in Canada. I've received hundreds of messages of concern and outrage from Canadians that a convicted felon, sexual predator, and a man who's threatened our nation's sovereignty is being allowed into our country.
And the reason I play this is Canada, and I'm going to show you that Canada is an allegiance to the European Union.
Canada is one of the EU's official strategic partners, and our present-day relations with the EU are framed by two agreements. The Canada-EU Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, governs our economic relations.
So it's showing you that the horns, the kings of the European Union, are starting to hate the whore, the king of Babylon, all right, and the whore being America. And Trump is the king of Babylon. And the Lord gave us prophecy that this place is going to be destroyed. It says in Isaiah 14 and verse 4, it says that thou shalt take up this proverb, which is prophecy, against the king of Babylon, which is Trump, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased, which is America? Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath, which is Edom, the so-called white race, with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. All right, which they're going to shoot nuclear missiles upon Babylon, aka America. All right, and Israel. Israel's also going to be destroyed by fire, but it's going to be chariot fire that does that. That's in 2 Esdras 13. It says in Isaiah 14 and 12, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, which is the Edomites that rule America, son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? See, it says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, right? Who's shooting missiles into the heavens? Didn't they just put a New Shepard rocket full of women into the atmosphere? It says, I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. See? So he has this God complex, the so-called white man, just like the Egyptian did back in the ancient world when the Lord brought him down, the Pharaoh and his military. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. All right, to the sides of the pit. You're going to be put in slavery, you Edomites. This is the end of your kingdom. This is the end of the Edomites' age. All right. Their kingdom, America and Israel, are going to be destroyed by fire. It says in 2 Esdras 13, for the land of Israel. Oh, you know what? Let me get Matthew 24 real quick. Matthew 24, verse 1. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple. His disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not that, it says, see ye not all these things? Which he was talking about the land of Israel, the buildings that were there. Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down, because it's going to be destroyed at the return of Yahushua. 2 Esdras 13, it tells you this. It says, and this is Esdras in the time of Babylon under the Persians, 2nd Esdras 13:1. And it came, and the Persians, those are the Iranians, all right, which it was Elam, okay? It says, and it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, and it moved all the waves thereof, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, which is Yahushai. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him, which he's coming down in the east, and he's going to save us from the west and take us back to our promised land. All right, but he's going to literally take us off the earth and put us in the chariot like an ark for Noah, right, or an ark for Moses, all right, to protect us from the judgment that he's sending forth upon the earth, which is going to be nuclear destruction. It says, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. And this is in the land of Israel, in the valley of Jehoshaphat, which goes from Turkey to Yemen. Here you go. That's the valley right there. See the light brown? They're going to go all the way up into the land of Israel. All right. The dark brown are mountains. So they're all going to be gathered in this valley right here, all the way up, see, to Turkey. And they're going to be destroyed here when Yahushai returns. All right, which they just bombed, let's see, Tehran. All right, right there, the capital of Iran. It's really Iran, not Iran. All right, and this is where it's leading to. They're going to come in from the east as it's prophesied, all right, and they're going to go to war in this land against each other, but eventually they're going to meet Yahushai, and he's going to burn them up in this valley of Jehoshaphat, all right, the valley of judgment. It says, verse 4, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth, so they're going to become ash when it filleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number. All these warriors of the world, they're going to be gathered here. These soldiers of these militaries, they're going to be gathered here in this valley from Turkey down to Yemen. All right. It says out of number, meaning you can't count them. That's how many men. From the four winds of the heaven, so out of every country, to subdue the man that came out of the sea from heaven. The sea represents heaven. All right. It says, but I beheld, and lo, he graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. So he's coming from heaven, and he's going to be on a chariot bigger than a mountain. And the chariots are so-called UFOs, so that you understand. But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight, which the Lord's going to put it in them to fight, but they're going to be terrified when they see it, all right, see him, all right, when they see the revelation of Yahushai. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, which he's going to put that fight in their heart to come after him with the technology he's given them, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. He's just going to pretty much use his own word, the commandment of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire. So when he makes that command, is going to burn up his enemies. And out of his lip a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burn them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Which Ezra saw the vision of the destruction that took place in that land, even in that land where he's at right there. You see, there's destruction going on right now in the land of Babylon, which was originally, right here in Iran. All right. So this whole area is going to be in war. All right. The continent of Asia. All right. It says in 2nd Ezra 16:1, woe be unto thee, Babylon, which is America, and Asia, which this is the continent of Asia. It's not Africa. It's not Europe. It's the continent of Asia. It says, woe be unto thee, Egypt and Assyria. So Egypt is all the way over here, Egypt, and Syria is over here. See, all this land right here is going to be burnt up. It says, gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair, bewail your sons, your daughters, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. And that's what's about to happen. All right. The heathen are going to be pretty much destroyed till only a remnant. And the remnant is going to be their elite that are going to be hiding in bunkers and in the mountains. All right. Anyone in America, it don't matter where they are, they're not going to exist after these nuclear missiles devour this place, because once again, one nuclear missile sets off an earthquake. So what is 200 million nuclear missiles going to do to the earth? All right. So there, and then I wanted to also bring out that these Iranians are going to fight back. All right. They're going to fight against Esau, the so-called white race. All right. They're going to fight against them. Let me see here. Oh, I was in the wrong 15. It's in 15. 2nd Ezra 15. And right here, it says, verse 27, 2nd Ezra 15 and 27. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth. Right? You just saw a brother upload a video. This is not a brother. AMTV, Christopher Green, breaking counter strikes, which they're going to destroy each other in war. But when they meet the Lord, they're going to turn and fight the Lord, right? They're going to shoot their missiles at the Lord from that land, and he's going to burn them there, right? And then we saw the one with the brother putting up about martial law, all right? So a lot of things are popping off all over the world because we're in the last days, and literally the last days. It says, for now are the plagues come upon the whole earth. And who's sending the plagues? All the way up to the top. It says, verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Verse 4, for all the unfaithful Israelites shall die in their unfaithfulness. In their unfaithfulness. All right. So let's go back to 20. I read 27. It says, for now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and they shall remain in them, and they shall remain in them. And they shall remain in them, meaning what? They're only going to increase. It's only going to get worse. It's good news for us, but it's going to get worse for the world. This is the end of the world. And not literal, but the way that we live on the earth is going to change. Management is going to change. It's going to go from Esau to Jacob. All right, so the earth is going to be able to prosper under Jacob, which under Esau, he made it a desert. He created weapons to destroy. When under us, the heathen will learn war no more. All right, it says, for our power shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him. Right, which these 2/3, right, and unfaithful Israelites, the unfaithful 2/3, they're going to be left here to pretty much eat nuclear missiles. All right. It says, behold, an horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations, it says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, and all they which hear them may fear and tremble. And shoot, these soldiers of Esau, they're going to become like women. All right, it tells you that the Lord's going to make them terrified in this time, so much that he's going to have to put the spirit in them to fight, because they're going to be so afraid of the things happening. It says also the Carmanians, the Iranians are the Iranians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them. So now they just joined the battle with them. With who? The BRIC nations. They're trying to go against this setup that the small hats have set up. All right, so it's going to be a world war, which they're going to end up gathering in the valley of Jehoshaphat, and the Lord is going to destroy them there. It says, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. The nuclear missiles are going to destroy Babylon. So those Assyrians are the Americans. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled, bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them, and in their hosts shall be fear and dread, and strife among their kings. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth, nuclear missiles, even their own star, and blood shall be from the sword unto the valley, like a lake, America's going to be turned into a lake of fire. And before that, a lot of people are going to be purged. All right. It says, and dung of men unto the camel's hoof, and there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon earth. And they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. And then shall there come great storms from the south and from the north, and another part from the west, and strong winds shall arise from the east, and shall open it, and the cloud which he raised up in wrath, the throne of judgment, and the star stirred to cause fear toward the east and west wind shall be destroyed, which is being stirred up by the morning star, which It's in the Apocrypha Baruch, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up with that. All right, what's stirring it up is the truth coming up. All right, that's what's causing all this. Is the prophecies. It's Baruch 4:1. It says, "This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, and the law that endureth forever," which is going to be the law that the earth is ruled by under Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai when he sets up the Israelites, and that's why the earth will be righteous and in a state of peace. The wicked, they go against the law. That's why he's known as the man of sin, and that's why he's going into perdition. All they that keep it shall come to life, which Yahushai is the life, but such as leave it shall die, which those 2/3 they rejected, so they're going to die here in America. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, which we're supposed to radiate this light on the internet, which is the platform to publish it, that thou mayest be illuminated. See? So we want to be illuminated. And you're illuminated through what? Through the truth. So let's go. I'll finish up actually right here. 1 Peter 2. No, it's 2 Peter 1 and 19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, which is this world, unto the day's dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. So last week this week at our camp, we were prophesying. I was prophesying, and I actually prophesied that something would happen in the what you know as Middle East because of what's happening over here in Babylon. See, so every time they make a move against the Israelites, the elect that are prophesying, they're going to be in straits, okay? They're going to be in much straits. And eventually the Lord's going to rain it on them while they're eating, while they consume what they believe their victory. All right? It says that in Job 20 and verse 23, when he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, the nuclear missiles, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword, the nuclear missile, cometh out of his gall, which they said that Iran was buying all kinds of missile fuel from China this last week. Terrors are upon him. All right. And I got to go to this last one. The Spirit be upon me. So I can't deny it. It says in Jeremiah 50 and 33, it says, "Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. We were oppressed together in ancient Egypt, and today in this spiritual Egypt, America. And all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go." And that's what's happening right now. They don't want to let us go. "Their Redeemer is strong. Yahweh of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon," which he's going to put it in the hearts of these heathen to shoot nuclear missiles on America. "A sword, nuclear missiles, is upon the Chaldeans." They're aimed at the Americans, saith Yahweh, "and upon the inhabitants of Babylon," which is America, "and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword, the nuclear missile, is upon the liars, and they shall dote. A sword, the nuclear missiles, is upon her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon their horses, and upon their chariots, and upon all the mingled people. In America, it's called a melting pot, that are in the midst of her, the whore, America, and they shall become as women. See, the Lord is going to take the courage away from the military of Edom, and their military men are going to be like women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. A drought is upon her waters, and they shall be dried up. For it is the land of graven images. They're going to enforce the implantable microchip and make it mandatory worldwide for buying and selling before the nuclear destruction. And they are mad upon their idols. Therefore, the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there. Talking about America. And the owls shall dwell there, and it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. As Yahweh, sending his son Yahushai, overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, which fire rained from heaven, this is how America is going to be destroyed. And the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell there. All right? So we got to see that these prophecies are coming to pass, and we are in the last days. So how we ought to be in holy conversation and godliness. Revelation 14 and 12, while everybody else is getting microchip, we're going to be patiently waiting on Yahweh to send his son Yahushai with a lively hope. It says in Revelation 14 and 12, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of the faith, and it says, keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahushai, which Yahweh is going to send Yahushai to deliver us. Yahweh, all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. Ba'asham Ha Rekah Kodash, double honors unto our apostle elders, which rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abba babal.